World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, October 30th, 2024. Happy Halloween Eve and welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable. Brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, and Cavs Philly Tailgates. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. Chet, the Eagles are coming off their best overall game of the season in Cincinnati. The struggling Flyers go into Boston last night and shut out the Bruins 2-0. A great win there. The Sixers still missing Joel Embiid, but the word came out today that Paul George will play tonight. That's good.
I don't believe it.
There's a huge game in Happy Valley Saturday at noon with number 4 Ohio State visits number 3 Penn State. It's going to be a good one. We have plenty to talk about, as always, in Philly sports.
Yeah, football is fun again in Pennsylvania, Bill. For folks in and around Philadelphia and South Jersey and Happy Valley too. But Bill, you didn't mention the big story of the day. Tobias Harris is back in Philadelphia tonight. To quote Tom McGinnis, get excited.
Well, and since you're going there, that other guy, that guy up in Brooklyn, apparently he's out again.
Ben Simmons, yeah. They're going to miss his 5 points a game, man.
Yeah, that guy. He's out again. Since you had to go to Tobias, we had to go to that guy that, I don't say his name. Hey, we have a couple great guests tonight returning to Philly Pressbox Radio and Keith Goon Conlin to talk Penn State, Ohio State. And Bob Angelo is going to talk Eagles and the NFL. Always great to have these guys.
Yeah, and by naming those two guys, Bill, you're going to be getting at least a half hour of great football talk about the Eagles, the NFL, and, of course, unbeaten Penn State.
Yes, sir. With that, let's welcome the host of the Goon and Ironhead Show, Keith Goon Conlin. Welcome back to Philly Pressbox Radio.
What's up, boys? How are you?
Fantastic.
All right.
Well,
Good
I got to say one thing off the start here. I want to quick hit it. I've talked to and listened to more NBA talk in the last 13 seconds than I have in the last 13 years. So congratulations, fellas. Doesn't do it for me anymore, man. I mean, you had me going. I'm listening to the introductions. I hear Dave Zinkoff in there. I'm loving it and this and that. And then I think about what's going on in the NBA world, and I'm just like, nope, I'm out. I can't do it.
Yeah, you're not the only one. A lot of people are with you. But we're talking football.
Absolutely, boys. Absolutely.
So, Goon, the quarterback, as of Tuesday, the word was Drew Aller might be a game-time decision in the wake of that knee injury he suffered last Saturday night in Wisconsin. Yep. His backup, Bo Prabula, got the job done in that game, certainly. But as of now, Wednesday evening, what do we know about Aller and whether he might be ready at noon Saturday?
I don't know anything on top of what you guys know, so it is what it is. But honest to God, I have an honest question for you. Did you not have Iowa 2021 fears when Prabula took over and he fumbled the first snap and then he had a delay of game? Remember that debacle out of Iowa and we didn't have a backup quarterback ready to go?
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, he settled down, he calmed down, and he played great in that second half. And honest to God, I'm pretty cool with either guy going this weekend. To be honest with you.
Well, that leads me right where I was going to go. You and I have had many conversations over the years about the big people, the big eaters up front, the offensive and defensive line, and where Penn State has added, they've sent some guys to the league off the offensive line over the last couple of years. They've never really seemed to have that unit. This unit looks like it might be as good as there's been in a little while.
Yeah, our quarterbacks have been clean throughout the season. If you really think about it, they haven't really getting that dirty. They have not given up a lot of sacks. And I think that teams are coming in and then, you're going to laugh because I'm going to bring up the 94 thing on the 94 team that I played. Yeah. But, we had two things going. Is you got to pick how do you want to lose this game as defensive coordinator? Do you want Kejana Carter to run all over you? Or do you want Kerry Collins to pass all over you? So right now it's, our run game, which is pretty savage, to be honest with you, or our pass game. And people are deciding, we have to let, Drew Aller or Bo Prabula beat us. And that's the bottom line, because they're not letting us run. Because personally, I mean, you guys know as well as I do from watching the games, we literally have one of the most dynamic tight ends in the country right now. And he's catching a lot of passes and he's doing a lot of stuff. But if you watch him, like when he's not passing the ball or catching the ball or centering the ball like he did at USC, I mean, the guy's a complete maniac, but he is absolutely hammering people run blocking. I mean, absolutely setting the edge for these guys, and he is just dirtying some defensive ends out there, some pretty good defensive ends, none of which we have seen until now, because this weekend is going to be the big weekend to see what's going to happen with our team. But Tyler Warren is absolutely out of his mind, playing well. The offensive line, and then you got to give Coach Franklin and Coach Troutwine a lot of due, and that is the depth. We have not had depth at this offensive line position, and I'm going to tell you, 15, 20 years. Yeah. And now we're popping 3 guys in the NFL last year, and now we only allowed 4 sacks already this year. That's it. You have 3 guys in the NFL from last year's team, and you have guys coming in replacing them, one being who the center is. I mean, I don't have to say this, right? Chocolate Thunder's kid, man.
Right.
I mean, the greatest basketball center in Philadelphia Sixers history.
Right.
I'm taking Dawkins over Wilt and Moses. I'm sorry. Come on. I know he doesn't have the stats, but I'm telling you, as a 9-year-old kid, seeing a guy rip a rim out of the wall and the glass shattering everywhere, you fall in love with that dude, man.
Oh, man.
So Doc's son's playing center for us right now, and he's playing well. He's playing very well, but it's the leadership that he's giving right now. And these offensive linemen, these young guys are stepping up, and these guys are like really, really good. We got Hayden Rucci comes in at right tackle. He had a couple plays where he got beat up a little bit, but you know what? He went to Wisconsin for 2 years, so they knew how to go against him. And I think he handled himself very well late in that game on Saturday. He might be starting this game. I don't know. But the offensive line is, obviously I'm going to say the big eaters up front have been doing great this year, and they have been. They really have been. And we have not been able to have this conversation in how long, Bill?
Long time. Years and years.
I would say
I guess I should
that offensive line in like 18, I think. Or I'm sorry, 08.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be surprised that a former offensive lineman is spending, 3 minutes talking about the O-line, but that's okay. I understand. Hey, Goon, you mentioned the tight end, Tyler Warren. He's now the only Big Ten tight end with more than 500 receiving yards. He averages about 12 yards a catch. He had that monster 17 catch game at USC. He's been great, but you mentioned also the running attack. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton both having solid seasons. It's nice to have 2 guys right around 500 yards rushing, with Singleton averaging nearly 6.5 yards a carry, is it not?
Yeah. I mean, pick your poison again. It's like, I don't think the Big Ten teams are allowing us. They're not going to say you're going to run. They're not going to sit back in the 7-man front in a zone defense. They're going to pressure our run game because that's our strength. And that's a good thing because, Drew Aller or Bo Prabula coming in this weekend, they have been doing well when we're taking what they're giving us right now, and we're still running the ball a little bit. I wish we could run the ball a lot more. But, again, I think that the defensive coordinators are saying you're not going to do that. So your pass game's got to be this, because we don't have the strongest receiving core. That is, if there's a glaring weakness on Penn State's offense, it is the receiving core. So I think defensive coordinators are saying, you know what, let those guys beat us because you're not going to beat us with a run game.
Hey, going over on the defensive side of the ball at linebacker, Kobe King, Tony Rojas, some guys, Tyler Elston, all stepping up, playing great ball. And Abdul Carter is the one that gets all the press. Is this defense for real?
Well, one, he's a LaSalle kid, so he deserves all the press he gets. So there's no doubt in my mind that's what's going on here. He's a LaSalle High kid. Hail LaSalle. But, yeah, you're all right. He is getting a lot of the credit. He does get a lot of the credit. But, the Denny Sutton, if he doesn't play this week, that's a big blow right now. Number 33, the defensive end who popped a groin the other day. Yep. He's a big loss if he's not playing this week. So I would, if I had to get one person healed up for this game, I'd rather have him than Drew, to be honest with you, because I feel comfortable with Bo Prabula as our quarterback personally, and I also feel that Denny Sutton playing defensive end for us is absolutely paramount, because now you got to drop down two guys. You can double team Abdul Carter on the other side, and then if you don't have that other strong rush guy, you know how defense works, Bill. Yep. You got one choice. You got to double one guy, and the other guy's got to beat somebody one-on-one. So.
I lose you.
Yeah.
Chet, you there?
Yeah, we froze there a little bit. Yeah. Well, Keith, I haven't always been the biggest fan of the head coach, but we have to give James Franklin his due this season. I mean, you can't criticize a coach when he's undefeated and he's had a couple of huge October road victories under his belt, right? It's pretty impressive.
Sure it is. Yeah, the people that knock James is like, just think about where we're at right now. We are, he's the 15th ranked coach in the country, price-wise, salary-wise. And, we're hovering between 10 and 15 on our recruiting. So, just watch the MLB World Series. The Yankees and the Dodgers are paying. Guess what? They're the two highest paid teams in the league. So you are going to get what you pay for. I don't want to think that college football is going down that route, but we sort of are. But I think that James, he seems more relaxed. Do you not notice that? Mm-hmm. I don't think he feels. I mean, first of all, I have to get this off my chest right now. If we lose this week, it's not a bad thing. So think about this: we win out. Guess what? Guaranteed, you're promised to play Oregon in the Big Ten title game. And then 2 weeks later, you get to play in a first round if you lose that game. Now, I'm of the ilk, as you guys are, as everybody is, that you win every game they put in front of you. So we need to win every game. But if we lose this game this week, win out, we're still going to host a 5-8 playoff game in December 21st. We win this game. We win out the next 4 games. We play, congratulations, you get to play the number 1 team in the country, and then you lose a bye week. Right. It's sort of like we're okay. We're doing very, very well where we're at right now. Now, I'm not sitting there saying I'm okay with us losing by 50 points. I'm not okay with us losing. I want to win this game, and I'm going to tell you right now, I have not seen a buzz. I've been back here since 2005. That's 19 years. And it's not even remotely close to the excitement that's going on here this week. There has been nothing about this the last 20 years. And I was here, obviously playing from 91 through 95. We played some hell of a games, but our fans weren't hungry then. They were very complacent, like, oh, you're not winning a national title? Our fans are starving. Our fans want this victory. Our team wants this victory. This town wants this victory. Look at, you guys can bring the picture up. I hope you do, of where ESPN Game Day is showing up versus where Fox is showing up and where I'm tailgating. So, I'm just sitting there. I am literally right in the middle.
Yeah, I didn't pass that on to
this. And I'm not going to tell you, it is Wednesday night, and I drove across town. And there is an aura and a buzz and a smell, a feel that this is a huge football weekend. And I'm telling you, I have not felt it in decades.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I was going to bring up to you, and you already touched on it. There's a quirk in this schedule, in this playoff schedule, even with the 12-team thing to me, because if you win, if you play in your championship game and you lose, all right, you've got to come right back the next week.
Yep.
If you're the number 3 team, you're getting a
You've
bye.
got 2 weeks bye.
You're
Yeah.
getting a bye, right?
Well, I think that has something to do with the Big Ten and the SEC and all these games. They still had their connections with the television contract. So that's what's going on there. And I get it. I understand it. But I don't think the loser of the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, I don't think they should be knocked. They shouldn't be knocked down for losing a championship game. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, and then, then you get into, again, if we lose this game, we're actually better suited to go into the playoffs as a home. All I want, by the way, all I want in this world, it's pretty easy to say. All I want in this world is us to have a home football game December 21st in State College, Pennsylvania, and have a West Coast team or a Southern team have to come up here and play in Pennsylvania weather. Because
you're going to have to lose.
We've had to go down there and play in the heat.
Yeah, you're going to have to lose at least once for that to happen. Whether it's this week or somewhere along the line, even in the championship game, you're going to have to lose a game to get that home field advantage.
Yeah, there's so much involved with it, guys. Like, okay, so like the Big Ten title game, are they going to treat that as a bad thing or a good thing? You know, and it's like we don't know. And then I can go even deeper on this because I constantly talk about this on my radio show. So, you guys have gone to Super Bowls, correct?
Yeah,
I have.
Oh, and I've never gone to one.
Whose tickets are you buying? You're not buying. When we played in Minnesota, when the Eagles played in Minnesota, the season ticket holders in Minnesota did not own the rights to those seats.
Right.
So if we have a home playoff game, do we, as a season ticket holder, do I own those seats?
Probably not.
Or does the NCAA come in and say, "Oh, these are our seats. You could buy these now"? There's so much up in the air when it comes to this playoff, and I know that's a whole. I mean, I will gladly come on if this is going to happen in the future, but it's really, really crazy thinking about all the different discrepancies and stuff like that, and whether we win, whether we lose, if we win, this and that, and I'm just going to say, you know what? As the great Reggie Dunlop said, with the Johnstown Chiefs, the Charlestown Chiefs, F it. Just go out and win them all. All we got to do, you go out, win them all, you'll be all right.
That's right. Goon, last thing from me. You know the history of Penn State, Ohio State. It's been pretty much all Buckeyes, 23-8, 23-8. They've won 7 straight, 11 of the last 12, and that one Penn State victory, maybe a little luck involved. Why is it going to be different this weekend, do you think?
I think we've caught up. They have been like the benchmark. They have been the New England Patriots what the New England Patriots did in the NFL during free agency period has been amazing. And what Ohio State has been doing in the last 21 years has just been absolutely amazing. You could actually say they've had a better run than Alabama. I know Alabama has a lot more national titles and this and that, but Ohio State has had an unbelievable run. I think we've caught up. I think we're in a world right now where money matters. And when I went into the preseason, I was looking at 2 teams. I was looking at Colorado to see, if they start losing, do they jump ship on Deion? I wish they'd lose more so they jump ship on Deion, but it is what it is. And the other one was, I don't want Ohio State to succeed because then that's the hallmark. That is like the benchmark of what people, we need $30 million to pay for a team. I don't want that to happen because you're going to have the have and the have-nots, which you probably already have. But if Ohio State goes out there and buys this team for $25 million is what they have right now in this season, and they lose 2 games, I don't think those guys are playing for the love of Ohio State. I don't think it's going to matter. They're still going to have their paycheck. They're still going to have their stipend money and this and that. So I don't think they don't really care. Now, if they go out and win a national title, then that's the benchmark of what everybody wants to do going forward, and that's spending $30 million on recruiting classes in your team. And that is the last thing college football needs. We're already teetering on semi-pro or pro right now. And, now, again, Ohio State loses this game, they're still in it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
They would get in the playoff with it as a 2-loss team, in my opinion.
Yeah. And could
we
host.
lose, and then
They
we
could
lose
end up
again,
hosting.
we're not going to get in the Big Ten. We are not going to get in the playoff as a true lost team. So this game's important to us, but there's also 4 more games at the end that if we win out, lose this game, and we go 11-1, we still host a playoff game. You know,
Yep.
So it's almost back to the 80s and 90s when it was like, oh, when did you lose your game? Who did you lose to? It's all about, you know what I mean? Remember those days when, oh, well, I go back to 94 and, Nebraska beat Colorado and, Penn State beat Ohio State and this and that. Florida State beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame beat Notre Dame. I mean, craziness. And that's what we're going back to with the whole when did you lose versus how much you lost. And it's a weird world, but it's all coming back into play with this playoff thing. And that's the biggest thing that's been changed this year is the playoff. And I don't think that you don't understand it. I don't understand it. I really don't. But I think the fans will pick on it eventually and understand it, what's going on. But I think that win, lose, or draw this weekend, we still make the playoffs. And that's a successful season for us right now. But again, as Reggie Dunlap once said, F it, win them all, baby, win them all.
There you go.
Hey, Goon, one final question for me. How big a monkey is this for James Franklin to get this off his back?
I'm with you on that one. I do truly believe, but I have this question too. Who has more pressure on their back right now, Ryan Day or James Franklin? And the answer is by a wide margin, more pressure is on Ryan Day than it is on James Franklin. So
yeah,
I think that James is going to say, you know what, we are what we are. We're going to roll out there. We're going to get it done. And if we don't get it done, we'll go plan B.
There you go. Hey, before we let you go, Goon, give everybody an update where they can find you on your show. You've got several shows you do, and where they can find you on social media and all that.
Yeah, my favorite show I do is the Monday Night Blue White Players show at bluewhiteplayersshow.com. We've been interviewing football players for the last 3 years. 15-minute interview. It's not groundbreaking, but you know what it is? We're learning about guys that we would not have learned because these guys, we play football. We hide behind masks and helmets, so you really don't see, why somebody went here, what they want to do in the future and stuff like that. It's been fantastic. I love getting to know these guys a little bit better, and to the point where we're actually going to start doing it in the spring and in the winter with wrestlers, hockey players, basketball players, baseball, softball. Nice. So we will be continuing that. It's a way for me to kick back. I mean, I was a former athlete myself, so if I can put some money in these kids' pocket, then I'm all about it. And and then our fans can get to know these guys a little bit and girls in the future. Love doing it. And then my weekly show, I have 2 days a week, Goon and Ironhead show on 98.7 The Fox up here in State College. It's on Facebook. It's on Twitter, all that stuff. So really love doing it. We just passed our 5-year anniversary. I literally had no idea. I honest to God, I thought it was about 2 years. And then my wife said, dude, you went through COVID with that. And I was like, well, when was that? And I was like, oh my God. So hopefully we'll go another 100 years. So I got a lot of stuff going up here. Big Bill, I can't wait to see you this week. I got
Me
your
too.
jerseys.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Can't wait.
Chet, Mango Kart is my new favorite, by the way. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We did this last year. I think I told you about how much I love Mango Kart.
You may have. That is a good beer. I like that.
That is a fantastic beer. So
and try this one.
My television show is
Tucker Hefeweizen.
So I hope they don't
check it out. Tucker
Hefeweizen.
Tucher. Tucker Hefeweizen. Yes.
Love it.
Thanks, Goon.
I'll see you boys this weekend, man.
All right, Goon. See you soon, buddy.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Appreciate you. All right, Chet. As we've told you in recent years, Philly Pressbox Radio, in recent weeks, not recent years, Philly Pressbox Radio is now part of a new podcast network, the STT Sports Network, as in Set the Trends. It's a network set up by our pal, Phil Stiefel, host of the terrific Trending in the AM show that you can find every weekday morning on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel. Check out Phil and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Phil's show is on there, and now so is ours. Yep, you can find Philly Pressbox Radio there in addition to our own YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. That hasn't changed any. Again, it's STT Sports Network, setting the trends for what sports talk should be. By the way, Chet, Phil will be joining Philly Press Box Radio live on our next show next week, November the 6th.
Hey, speaking of Phil, I watched most of his show this morning, and he went on a bit of a tear criticizing the Philadelphia 76ers, go figure. A lot of people are not happy with the Sixers these days. Here's what Phil had to say about their handling of the Embiid situation and transparency.
The Sixers have literally given us, again, for the 15 millionth time, a big fat middle finger. Normally the Sixers' disappointments don't come till April, May, June. The Sixers' disappointments are happening in October now. And I don't know about anybody else out there, but I'm over the Sixers already.
There you go.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that going around.
There is. Irish Rover, Bill?
Yeah, tell us what's going on over at the Irish Rover Station House.
Well, I'm glad you asked because I love the Rover. You know that. The Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, Pennsylvania has happy hour specials, always 24 beers on tap. And check this out. They have dinner specials Thursday through Sunday. Some great offerings this week, including, bacon-wrapped scallops, one of my favorites. And something new on Thursday evenings, Stella and wings. Yeah, a big plate of the Rover's tasty wings for $9 and a giant glass of Stella for $5. Very nice. This Saturday, of course, it is Halloween party time at the Rover. Get your costume, get to the Irish Rover, spooky drink and appetizer specials, prizes for the best costumes, and more. The Irish Rover Station House is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. Check the website, irishroverstationhouse.com. Merrill, where are you?
Hi, football fans. This is Merrill Reese, and you're listening to Bill and Chet on Philly Pressbox Radio. It's good!
It is.
It is good. Hey, Chet, before we get to our next guest, I want to throw out for just a minute. The struggling Flyers went into Boston last night. Always a tough place for them to play. They shut out the Bruins 2-0 with their best game of the season. Did you get to see any of it? I did. And wondered if your thoughts were that maybe this is a turning point for this club.
Boy, you got to hope so. Sam Ersson with a shutout. That was nice. And at a place where they haven't won in a long time up in Boston. So that was impressive. I did see a bunch of the second period and the third period. I actually had to turn it off when it was 1-0. And then I was checking the score, saw they added a late goal and 1-2-0. Very nice. So, some people want them to tank and get a real high draft pick. I don't. I want them to compete. Maybe sneak into the playoffs later this year. As Mishkov and the other young guys develop, why not? It's a lot more fun when you win than when you lose, and just because you're going to get a high draft pick.
Yeah, well, like I've said 100 times before, players don't tank. Management decisions might tank. Players don't tank. They're out there. They're playing hard. If not, they get hurt. Bad things happen when you're not out there doing your best. So I'm not going with players tanking. That's for sure. And I don't see Danny Briere, Keith Jones, and John Tortorella tanking. It's not in their DNA.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, keep the wins coming. Keep the fans excited and energized. And, see what happens. It's a long season.
Yep. Hey, on the Sixers note, we mentioned Paul George is going to play tonight, it looks like.
I don't know about that. I don't think that's true.
I believe it is true. I believe I read that at about 5 o'clock.
The only place I saw reporting it was our friends at Edge of Philly Sports. I saw it nowhere else. So unless they got a scoop, he's not playing. So
okay.
Somebody check on that for us, please.
I don't know where I saw that, but I don't know that it was there or where I saw it. But anyway, hopefully soon we're going to get Embiid and George back, or everybody's going to be feeling like Phil does.
Yeah, we'll talk more Sixers in the weeks ahead, but we're talking football tonight, Bill. Let's keep the football talk going.
And Chet, you know what? I can't help myself. Every time I see a piece by NFL Films these days, I can't help but think of Bob Angelo. Since we've had Bob on the show a couple times, I think of him all the time. And it's great to have him back, and we're going to do it again right now.
Well, it is great. He's a great cameraman, a super guy, and heck, He wrote the book, Bill, the NFL Off Camera. So let's bring him on.
Let's welcome Bob Angelo back to Philly Press Box Radio. Bob, welcome, my
Hello.
friend.
There he
How are
is.
you?
How are you guys?
Hello,
Good.
Bob. Man, we got so much to talk about. We could talk about the NFL in general, but we got to talk about the Eagles and the recent resurgence. They've looked like an actual pro football team the last couple of weeks, especially, Sunday beating a decent Cincinnati team that's better than their record. They demolished them. A nice 37-17 win. Is this the real Eagles now that we're seeing?
Well, let me gain some intelligence here.
Hey, Bob, I have to tell you, Chet was falling into the hater wagon. He was about to jump.
Not.
He was
Here's
about
the
to
thing.
jump.
I'm going to start where it needs to start from my perspective, and that is with Vic Fangio's defense. Fangio invented cover 6, and he's a master at cover 4 and 8. It takes a while for older guys to catch on to that. Kids coming in from college, they can pick up on it right away because, hey, let's face it, Nick Saban's been doing this stuff, and other coaches have been doing this kind of stuff at the collegiate level for years. Finally, last week, we saw some evidence. Now, beating the hell out of the Browns and out of the Giants defensively, yeah. Coming back after that miserable first quarter against the Bengals offense, ranked 9th coming in, seeing what I saw, I said, they're getting it. They're getting it. And I don't want to poop on Darius Slay because Darius Slay has been an outstanding football player for a long time. But he's in his 30s.
Yep.
And Isaiah Rodgers is 26. I like to see younger men in that secondary. Did you see the play they made? I'm sure you've talked about it. Great freaking play. DeGene Cooper, he's on his way to being an all-pro in his second season. Not this year. He's only 21 years old.
Right.
And, of course, the number 1 draft pick, he leads the team in passes defended going in and coming out of last weekend. I like what I see in the secondary. Nolan Smith's recent statistics as a pass rusher, encouraging. Still not sold on the big men up there from Georgia. And, hey, the 2 linebackers used to be a weakness for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Leading the team in tackles. They're leading there's one of them. I mean, this dude he was a pass rusher in.
Here's the other.
He was a pass rusher in New Orleans. They had him out of position. No wonder the Saints are, tanking it this year and on their way on a treadmill to oblivion. Eagles, on the other hand, they fit him in the right spot. Fangio eventually will get the people he needs in the right spot to play those complex split field zone pattern match coverages. And once he gets that in place with younger men, they're going to be tough on that side of the ball. Offensively, well, Lane Johnson called them constipated a week or so ago. And they have been. And do they have an identity? Not sure yet. They remind me of Dave Kingman. Dave Kingman hit about 230 every year, but every now and then he'd hit a 490-foot home run, and people would talk about it all week. The Eagles looked like they were that big play offense. All of a sudden now, Saquon Barkley has demonstrated that I can carry this team if you let me. I'm only 27 years old. I'm finally someplace where there are offensive linemen in front of me who I can call real football players getting the job done. And I'm throwing kudos out to Steen and to Johnson at right guard and left tackle for the job that they've done recently. And, Saquon Barkley is 1 pass reception away from the Eagles only having 1 loss this year. Right. So bottom line, what a big game. Now, I was sitting here, like probably you, Chet, on Sunday with my buddy who comes over to watch the game every week, Rob Rearies. Rob sat down with us. We watched that first quarter, and we said, why can't you guys get off the field on 3rd down? This went on and on and on, and then it ceased. And after it went away, the Bengals couldn't do squat. One of the biggest plays of the game, Cooper to Gene, fourth in the season maybe for Cincinnati, and DeGene drew a straight line through Jamar Chase. Wham! On the ground, game over. That was the key play in that game. Up until that point, Bengals still in it. Cooper DeJean, 21 years old, fellas, 21 years old, out of Iowa. He used to kill Penn State. I hated him. Hated him. But anyway, Eagles are going this way.
Hey, Bob, the last 3 games, as we talked about, maybe not the toughest opponents to deal with, but the Eagles management, constipated, whatever you want to call it, turned into running the football. What we've asked for years. They're now the number 1 rushing team per attempts in the league, and it's working. With that said, I think this week Doug Peterson comes to town. They're going to load the box up. They're going to adjust to that. They're not going to sit there and get run on, and the Eagles better be ready to adjust to throw the ball around a little bit. I
think they are going to have to throw a bit against the Jaguars, but then everybody else has, so why shouldn't the Eagles be able to do it? Right. AJ can play. Devontae can play. The key to me is just get them the ball. Why does it have to be so damned complicated? Why does it always have to be an RPO or a 7-step drop where Jalen has to stand there and figure out what's going on down there? Why not just give the ball to Devontae in the flat? Why not just let AJ run a quick slant, put the ball in his hands, let him run with it? Yards after catch. That guy right there is as good in that statistical category as everybody in football except possibly the 49ers receivers. He's a big, strong dude who looks like Terrell Owens. And when he's got the ball and safety see him coming, they're not thinking, ooh, goody. They're thinking, this is one big SOB I got to get on the ground. Devontae, how many times now recently have we seen an underneath crossing route where he catches the ball and wins a game? He did that 2 weeks ago. Last week, again, underneath catching the ball on a power out route twice. He picked up big yards after the catch. Great stat. Eagles receivers can do it if they have the ball in their hands. But if it takes an eternity for Jalen to figure out who the hell's open on any given play and work his way around pass rush that's sneaking in after about 7 seconds, sorry, I'm exaggerating, but you've got about 3 seconds to get the ball out, Jalen. You're not playing against the Idaho School for the Blind. You're playing against NFL coverages. Get the ball out because the pass rush is coming and your guys can't hold up forever. To me, the key to the rest of this season is Jalen Hurts learning Kellen Moore's offense. And please let it be Kellen Moore's offense and not Nick Sirianni.
Yes.
Let it be Kellen's offense that he learns. Motion, pre-snap motion, change, by changing the power side of the formation, move defenders around, understand what you're looking at. Don't come out of the huddle, Jalen, knowing where you want to throw the ball and then force it in there when it's not there. Observe what you see pre-snap. See what you see with the motion telling you, is it man or zone, or is it a split field coverage, zone on one side, man on the other? Is it 2-by-1, blah, blah, blah. Figure it out and then make a better judgment by reading it down, up, or up, down, whichever way you're supposed to go. Because if you put the ball in your playmakers' hands, you're going to win games.
Bob, all the Eagles talk got me excited and convinced me to go put my Devontae Smith Kelly Green jersey on because this Sunday happens to be Kelly Green weekend. The Eagles going to wear their Kelly Green for that game against the Jaguars. I'm excited about that. I want to ask you something else, though. Today happens to be the birthday of the legendary Dick Vermeil. He is 88 years young today. He was just a kid of, 85 when he went into the Hall of Fame. What's your favorite Dick Vermeil memory?
Oh, God, so many. When Steve Sable got that great shot with Leonard Toews hanging on him, on Vermeil after a game, and Dick just tearing up. I mean, one of the 150 times that Dick teared up in a locker room or, at a press conference. But Dick was an emotional man, and I love that. My wife makes fun of me for tearing up watching Westerns, when it has a happy ending, or Superman when he flies a girl around the world. But I love that about the guy. He it mattered to him. That moment, and it was interesting what got cut out at the end, which I can't say on this show, I'm pretty sure. But, of course, Leonard had a little potty mouth sometimes. And he said, we showed those blankers, didn't we? And, of course, we never got to that. But that moment was one of many with Dick. I think one of the best was probably when he was a St. Louis Rams head coach, and they won that Super Bowl. And he was carrying his granddaughter around on his shoulders. I shot some of that. And, again, that was Dick's way of saying, see, wasn't washed up, whatever her name was. Here I am. And that, of course, he was out of football, 15 years?
Yeah.
When he came back to St. Louis. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that moment. Watching Dick, one of his last game, probably his last game in Kansas City. I forget the name of the dude, little black dude, wide receiver type, kick returner, lightning quick, walked over to Dick before the game and gave him a hug and just, thank you. Thank you for being my coach. Thank you for the things you taught me about winning and being a man and blah, blah, blah. I mean, Dick touched people. There he is. That is what he deserved for his 3 teams, 2 Super Bowl appearances and victories. One victory. He lost the one with the Raiders. But Dick coached his guys to death. He worked them to death. As I wrote in my book, The NFL Off Camera, sometimes his players said, wait a minute. Whoa. Back it down, man. Back it down. We're in a Super Bowl here. We don't need to go back to 2-a-days, training camp. He learned. Dick evolved. And thus his longevity, thus his inclusion now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Well, hey, Bob, it's we're hitting November 1st here. We're coming up on Christmas. Chet has your book. I've read your book. Plug it. Tell us about it.
Well, I didn't do much for book sales this year because I just didn't. Temple University Press did a great job getting it out there, but after a while, they started moving on to other authors, other topics. I went to a fire pit party in my neighborhood a couple of weeks ago, and I explained to 2 of the women there, a mom and her daughter, that I'd written a book, and they said, really? Tell me about it. I told them. They pulled it up online. They bought 2 copies, and I just got the notification on my banking statement, whatever that payment is, $4.07 for 2 books. Yeah, I'm living well this weekend. But I'm going to an event in Burlington County Chamber of Commerce here in New Jersey. I'm going to an event in November. And apparently someone's going to be there with a pile of books and help me sell those things. And I will sign them if anybody shows up, and they're still available. Anybody who wants to buy the thing, it's real simple. Go online, just type in the NFL Off Camera, just those words, and it'll come up right away. And then I can get another $2.03 every time you buy one.
It's really good. Really, really good.
So, Bob, for the people that weren't with us when you were on before, your book, it's a accumulation of short stories from your time working at NFL Films. Explain that just a little bit for anybody that might want to buy this, because it's a great book.
Well, I wrote it, and I kept calling it a bathroom book or a toilet book. And my wife, Barbara, by the way, Barb says hello, Chet.
Hey,
Barb said, no, it's not a toilet book. It's not a bathroom book. It's a coffee table book. When I was on NFL's Good Morning Football, they giggled at it. They thought it was hilarious. But my concept was football fans consume football in long, extended periods of time, 3 to 3.5 hours to watch their favorite team. Their fantasy teams have to prepare for the draft. You have to put your roster in every single week. You've got to be on top of trades, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Make sure that you know who's playing against whom, what your best matchups are. All that takes time. I wanted to write something that people could get into and be done with in 5 minutes or less. No story in my book, no single chapter in my book, and there are 91 chapters in my book.
Yep.
No single chapter is longer than 3 pages.
Yep,
so if you've got a good solid 8th grade education, you can be in and out of the bathroom during a commercial, come back, not miss a play, and read a story, and come back edified.
It's really good. Hey, my pal Denny, who's read, I think, 3 books in his life, read yours, and he loves it. So there you go. That's an endorsement right there. Dennis Malloy, love that book.
Thank you.
Me, not a big reader, but this is a good one. Hey, Bob, before we finish up, it is Halloween Eve. And so I tipped you off to this. I'm just wondering, who are the 3 or 4 scariest guys you got to watch up close during your decades on the sidelines?
Let me refer to my notes.
Okay.
Historically, wrong notes. Historically, Deacon Jones was a force of nature. Deacon Jones invented the head slap. Carl Eller picked up on it. So did several other defensive ends in that era. It's now totally illegal. You can be thrown out of the game. You can be taken out and shot if you do that. But back in the day, it was a deadly maneuver to allow Deacon, as he said, quoting Muhammad Ali, just to get the advantage, just to put it out there, sting him so I could get by him. Deacon was a force of nature. Dick Butkus, my stars. I mean, Dick was.
Look at that quote.
When that's in my book. I quoted him directly with that.
There
Dick Dick just, when the Bears drafted Dick and Gale Sayers in the same round back in 1964 or 5, not sure the year, I'd watch Bears games on television. They played the Steelers once, and there would be this muddle of people, and all of a sudden, whoosh, and boom, and Dick Hook would go A over 10 cups backwards, and that was Butkus. Butkus arrived angry. He arrived, and every time he hit somebody, he wanted to change the game. He wanted to tell the offense, no, not today. And Dick was scary that way on the field. And then I had to go way back for this one, but I remember him when I was 8 years old because I was a fan of the Detroit Lions because they were my electric football team. Dick Night Train Lane, face mask, grabbing somebody by the face mask, and that was illegal, except against running backs up to 1962. In 1961, he was still allowed to do that and yank somebody and drag and pull them down to the ground. He was a scary person because he was a big, strong, angular, incredibly nasty defensive back. He was a cornerback for the Lions and, of course, a Hall of Famer now. And I have a long story about him that I'll tell on a different occasion because it involves other people. And
we got 2 minutes, Bob. So who are the more recent guy? 2 minutes.
More recent. Well, of course, Pittsburgh had Lambert, Count Dracula and Cleats. I gave him that nickname. There it is. That picture. And there was a sign on the stadium wall in Pittsburgh, Count Dracula and Cleats. When I saw that, I said, "My God, I'm an influencer before my time." I was affecting popular culture. But I got to know Jack very well, and Jack was he was just an intimidator. Played it clean. Everybody thought Jack was dirty. No, not so much. However, in his very same locker room was somebody even scarier, Mel Blount. I walked in, sat there one day waiting for all the, and this was in the late 70s when they were still Super Bowl champion type people. When Mel walked in, there was a silence in the room. Jack walked in smoking a cigarette, and hey, Jack, hey, well, Jack was friendly and outgoing. Mel was just like a dark cloud moving through. The 5-yard rule is the Mel Blount rule. Mel just completely could dominate a smallish wide receiver at the line of scrimmage and not let the man get downfield because he would just knock the hell out of him at the line. So Mel, Ronnie was from the San Francisco 49ers. In Cincinnati's Super Bowl with San Francisco, the first one, he just hit dude who did the little dance. Help me out here.
Icky Woods?
Icky was taking control of that game. And all of a sudden, Ronnie came up there on a hit, read it, ran the right gap, knocked him, and game over. The Bengals were never the same after that. And
LT. Tell me about LT.
Well, Lawrence changed the sport. Lawrence changed the sport offensively, defensively, and how teams drafted. He came in 1981. He came off the edge. Bill Parcells told him, if you don't know what to do, just rush the quarterback. And he was coming off the right side almost all the time. So he was basically decimating quarterbacks in the pocket, coming off the blind side. Literally, the hit on Ron Jaworski is still something that Ron remembers and everybody talks about in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Joe Gibbs invented the one-back offense to put a tight end or somebody of stature to slow him down and block him. And then, and of course, everybody wanted to draft the next LT. And here we are, 81, let me do the math, 43 years later, I still haven't seen him. Sorry. I have not seen the next Lawrence Taylor. Yeah. And finally, I mean, Taylor just, teams change their draft strategies, literally change their draft strategies. Defensive coordinators would, bring in people who could play outside linebacker in 3-4 defenses, odd man defenses, to find that next LT. So his impact across the sport was, and I think when NFL Films did its 100 best players of all time, LT was top 5 and deservedly so, and was the top defender in that group.
Bob, we got a wrap.
Yeah, Bob, we have run out of time, and it's been great. Awesome as always, and let's do it again.
I see the time is 7:51. Congratulations. I made it through 20 minutes. That was my goal tonight. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, Bob. Thanks, Fred.
Talk to you soon.
Be well.
All right. Hey, Chet, tell us what's going on with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia, Bob Cavanaugh and the gang at Cavs Philly Tailgates.
Well, I knew you were going to ask me about that, Bill. Cav and Company, they have been cooking up a terrific catering business for more than 30 years. You know them for their tailgate parties. Cav's a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgate's Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs also does corporate events and parties, you name it. And Cav hosts tailgates before all the Birds games at the Link. You can see the partial schedule for the next month or so. Check the website, phillytailgates.com, for pricing and more info about upcoming events. And if you have questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates, the way to go. And Cav works with the guys at Philly Sports Trips who have fantastic trips for every Eagles road game. So check them out, phillysportstrips.com.
All right. Hey, let's get to our weekly picks. We're getting a little bit better. Hey, where's Boop?
Well, Boop is still in Facebook's timeout corner, apparently, but he is otherwise alive and well, and we do have his picks. And he, in fact, is on fire with those picks, Bill. Let me see if I can find the standings, because he's had 2 consecutive undefeated weeks. God, I wish I could see.
Maybe staying off Facebook and paying a little more attention. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what's doing it for him. I'm telling you. Oh, we got him. Here we go. The pick'em standings. Boop has been 5-0 and 4-0 the last 2 weekends. He's taken a 1-game lead, 22-13. You're a game back, Bill. You were 3-1 last weekend. I went back to my mediocre self, 2-2. So I'm 6 games behind Boop right now.
All right. Well, let's get to this week. We've added a couple because we have a couple of NFC East teams playing each other. So we've added Detroit at Green Bay. The Lions are -3.5. We've added the Rams at Seattle. The Rams are -1. Washington is at the Giants. The Commanders are -3.5. Dallas at Atlanta. The Falcons are -3. Jacksonville comes to the Link to play the Eagles. The Eagles are -7.5. Let's do it. Who you got?
All right, let's do this real quick. Let's start with the Lions and Packers. Boop says Detroit has scored 172 points in the last 4 games. That is more than 13 teams have scored all season. Wow. Yeah, the Lions are for real. Boop picks the Lions. So do I.
So do I. Rams at Seattle. The Rams -1. I was a little surprised at that.
Boop says Seattle is just 1-4 in its last 5 and staggering into its bye next weekend. I didn't know that, and I wrote down Seattle. Boop is taking the LA Rams.
I didn't know that either, actually, and I took Seattle as well. They're at home. They usually play pretty well at home.
Yeah, they're due.
Washington at the Giants. The Commanders -3.5.
Boop says New York needs a prayer to St. Anthony's maybe to find victory here. His pick is the Commanders. Yeah, you got to go Washington.
Yeah, you can't pick the Giants.
I'm surprised that line is only 3.5, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Dallas at Atlanta. Falcons -3. Dallas is reeling.
Boop says, though, Dallas is scheduled to start playing better simply because the Eagles are next. Boop is picking the Cowboys. I'm not. I'm going with Atlanta.
I'm going with Atlanta, too. Dallas, same thing. They still can't run the ball, and they still can't play defense. That hasn't changed. All right, Jacksonville, they're playing a lot better as they come into the link, but the Eagles are -7.5.
Boop says the last 3 teams Jacksonville has beaten were a combined 5-20 entering the game. Boop's pick is the Eagles. I don't know if they're going to cover, but I got to pick the Eagles too. I'll say 27-20.
I think I'm taking the Eagles, and I think they will cover the 7.5. I'll go with that.
Hey, speaking of Boop, a reminder to check out his website where you can get the daily listing of TV sports of interest and all sorts of other fun stuff. That website, sponsored by Chick's Deli in Cherry Hill, is boopstats.com. Now, the margin of victory pool, Bill, kind of like the survivor pool, but you get points when your surefire pick wins based on the margin of victory. And we all had a terrific week 8. Bill, you got a winner by 2 touchdowns, but you lost ground because both Boop and I took Detroit, which won by 38 last week, 52-14. So let me find those standings. I'm in first place in that one with 103 total points. Boop has passed you and taken over second place. He's at 72 points. Bill, you're in third with 62.
All right. Well, let's get to it. Who are we picking this week?
Boop is picking those Cincinnati Bengals. I don't even remember who they're playing. And I told Boop, I said, I have a hunch we may pick the same team because I thought he may take Kansas City in the Monday night game against whoever the hell Kansas City was playing, Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But he didn't take Kansas City, and neither did I, as it turned out. I went with Baltimore over Denver because I think Baltimore at home is, going to be pissed after what happened against Cleveland last weekend. I'm taking Baltimore to win big.
Cincinnati is playing the Raiders.
Aha.
I am taking the Houston Texans.
You're sure you didn't pick them before, right? You didn't pick them before?
No, I'm not sure because I haven't looked at the list. But I plan to take the Houston Texans against the Jets because the Jets stink.
I got you.
So
move along.
All right. Let's see. Great guests tonight, Keith Conlin and Bob Angelo. Who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week?
Well, Bill, that's a great question. And do I have pictures to put up? I do. Yeah. Bill, we are on a roll with great guests, and that's going to continue next week with 2 more terrific ones. As mentioned earlier, Phil Stifle from Trending in the AM and the STT network that we are now a part of will join us live. Yeah, Phil going to be with us live. Your first time actually talking to Phil, I believe.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun. Can't wait for that. And our second guest, Bill, is a true Philly radio legend. He is a guy who, despite being retired from his long-running WIP morning show gig, has a lot going on right now. Yep, Angelo Cataldi making a return visit to our show. And Bill, that leads me into this as we get ready to wrap it up. Angelo is part of the 2024 Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame class, which will be inducted at Philly's Live Casino next week. I will be there. That's on Thursday the 7th. But no, I am not an inductee, folks. I know you thought I might be, but no, not yet. Not yet. Now, the bad news, the induction ceremony is 100% sold out. The good news, it is quite an impressive list of inductees, including not only Angelo, but Andy Talley, Jameer Nelson, Paul Westhead, Rod Brindamore. I know Brindamore will not be there because his team has a game. And the Phillies, Chase Utley and Ryan Howard. And according to our pal Mike Conroy, both Howard and Utley will be in attendance. How about that, Bill? So congrats to all the inductees. And we will talk to Angelo about him being inducted on next week's show ahead of the inductions.
Fantastic.
There you
go. To that. All right. You got anything else real quick, or we go wrap it?
Wrap it up, Bill. Have a great time in State College this weekend. We are Penn State.
Penn State. That's right. All right. Let's wrap it up. Thank tonight's special guests, Keith Conlin and Bob Angelo. Our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Philly Tailgate, and PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll join Philly Press Box Radio next Wednesday, November 6th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook on our Philly Press Box Radio YouTube channel, as well as on STT YouTube channel.
Yep.
Listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. Happy Halloween and high hopes, Philadelphia sports fans.
Happy trails till we meet.